do know throughout the process, from the creation all the way to selling and even delivery, that the conscious expectation, the conscious way, and the real, the magician's way may be different. So good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from. Perhaps you can let me know. And I welcome you to this mini class where I'm going to share with you almost a process, if there can be a process, if you like energetic process, how you could tap into the power of detachment when you're creating your programs, when you're selling, when you're marketing, when you're delivering your service, and therefore with it, tap into the highest level of creativity, highest level of guidance, and of course, the highest level of receiving. Because detachment is one of those things that we kind of understand why is it important, but it's one thing to understand the concept logically, and another thing is to really get it with our heart and be able to tap into it, right? In fact, one lady inside of the Quantum Leap training just mentioned, you know, Lenka, it's kind of bizarre that I joined this training and I was already aware of the concepts that you talked about, but it touched me on such a much deeper level because of the language that you use. So my analytical mind understands, so I kind of got it. And it makes a big difference. And that's what it is about. I'm not going to share with you something like brand new, but my expectation is that you will be able to get it, you know, get the power of detachment and how to tap into it. Because again, let's just reinstate a little bit why it is important to be detached. I mean, we women entrepreneurs and creators and change makers, we are so very, very committed to our goals, right? And to our mission. So we set that goal, we follow the intuition, we set the strategy, we take that action, we take uncomfortable, sometimes quantum action, we take the risks and we go, and then it's the dedication, really that shadow side is the detachment, when we almost are so stiff and so, oh, I hope it will work out, and it's not going exactly as I thought it would. Maybe it's gonna be, oh my goodness, what else can I do? Have I done enough? Is this enough? What else? So, you know, the attachment is a shadow side of the dedication and commitment, and we've got to clear it out, because with attachment we are closing down, and we're coming into only to human body, physical mind, and we just cannot tap into the power that we all have, to tap into that limitlessness that we all have. So that's why detachment is super important. And I can tell you from my personal experience, that is, maybe I can share with you two stories, quick stories on the power of detachment. One was that actually the first time I did not set a tangible goal for my launch, and I'm going back then, a few years back. It's the first time I decided that actually I'm not going to set how much money I want to make from my launch, or launching a program, opening the doors to a certain program. I'm not going to actually decide or set a goal how many clients I want to have there. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to kind of trust that, since I really want to, and I'm led to run this program, introduce this program, that the perfect clients will be attracted to it. So I'm just going to focus on the love of doing it. It was something like that. And it was the first time I did it some years back. And it was also my first 100K month, which was a lot more than I was used to up till that point. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Because in that decision, there was literally no attachment, as in I didn't really care, as in what results will I have. I cared that I'm going to be in integrity and in enjoyment, in pleasure of actually doing it. But again, sometimes it's easier said than done. So we'll talk about the process, the how of of detachment. The second time, and I think the reason why this old story pops up to my mind is because one of my past clients, Lee, beautifully, if you're listening, Lee Daniels, if you're listening to this, that's amazing. She just joined Wildly Wealthy Woman, my newest program, after several years of working together. And when we first talked those few years back, so Lee, by every mean, was already like a super successful, established businesswoman at roughly $500,000 a year or 400K or whatever, really successful businesswoman. And I remember at the discovery call, as we were exploring how can I help her, I remember that she was talking about her business and what it does, and it was completely different business to what I was used to, because at the time I served only women coaches and that's it. And as I was listening to her, I'm like, shit, how am I going to actually support her, because I'm focusing on a different type of business. So yes, I admit it was a little bit of my insecurity perhaps coming up, or that I didn't fully was in the power of the work yet, but that's okay. So I was completely honest, because on the sales calls, personally, I never, ever, ever go into sales calls. And that's not my suggestion to do either, that coming to the sales call with a client and hoping that they will say yes. That's obviously the attachment to the outcome. The sales calls to me are simply exploration. Can I help this person? Do we vibe? Will I enjoy working together? Are they a good match? Do they believe that this is a perfect match? So it's an exploration. And so I remember I told her, Lee, this is great, but I'm not entirely sure that I will, you can get a lot out of this, because I work with women in completely different industry. And I remember she was like, oh, thank goodness she said, thank you for being honest with me, but I really truly feel that I would benefit from your energy. So anyway, so eventually she signed up immediately, pretty much, to my 6 months mastermind. And of course, that helped me to step into power of how energetics are transferable to any business, and any situation, but inside of that mastermind, she really, within 6 months, she got herself to over 1 million gross profits in her business. Absolutely unbelievable. But it's that honesty and detachment and just really sharing from heart that can truly take us so far. It served personally me, and I know many of my clients extremely well, when we're truly able to detach. That's the nature of our divine feminine and masculine. So when we set amazing big goal, ideally we're working from the divine feminine and masculine energy. So we create that goal, it's like it's big and it's juicy, it's calling us. We know it's our work, so to speak. So we have that calling, so we lean into that. So we use that trust in a masculine that we will be held, and we go. But at some point we've got to detach from that goal, because just like the baby, when it's created by the miracle, by feminine and masculine, as the baby is created, yes, it's nurtured by the feminine. Yes, it's nurtured, but eventually we've got to let it go. Otherwise, it's not able to come into its fullness. So what is the kind of process behind it? So the first thing I've got written here in my notes, and the first principle that will lead you to a first step, if you like, that will help you to get into full detachment, is that it's the higher mind that creates the ideas. It's not the lower mind translates and perceives those ideas. What does it mean? So at some point, you of course want to bring, let's say, to your clients something incredible, where you make lots of impact and lots of money, etc., right? So do know that it's not going to happen by really just focusing on that. How, what should I do now? What should I do now to what program should I run, or what program should I launch, or how should I create that amazing sales month or whatnot. If you focus on the problem, we are in a funnel vision, we're in the physical mind, we're here, it's like a tunnel vision, and we're closing up to our resources. It's the higher mind that really creates those ideas, and our physical brain only translates them. And also, you already heard from me, hopefully more than on one occasion, that the ideas will be matched to your energy. So what happens is our higher mind, that aspect of us that has got really antenna view, like overview of all who we are, our destiny, our soul journey, and everything. It knows what we want. That aspect of us knows what we want. It offers us those ideas, and our physical mind translates it. So first and foremost, we want to tap into our higher mind to get the most potent ideas. How do we do that? Well, we can tap into magician consciousness, as we talked about quite a lot into over the last few days inside of the Quantum Leap training. So let's say you could ask yourself a question: if anything was possible for me, what would I choose to do now? If anything was possible, what would make my heart sing? Anything is possible, anything is possible, anything is possible now, anything is possible for me. Contemplate on it, just that phrase, and really, so you open your mind to limitless possibilities, because we know that magician consciousness, that as me consciousness, is truly works on the principle of infinity and oneness, meaning everything is happening in my energy. So start there, so that that aspect of you, higher mind, or you could say magician, can offer you the most potent ideas. So we don't want to look for the ideas as what to do next from the lower mind, or from the energy of I need, I want even, or anything like that. Those are the lower energies. So you will know that you're tapping into that energy when you get idea, and you feel some sense of love, like I love the idea, I love the idea. It's in your heart, you will feel that sense of expansion. So your higher mind will then offer you that idea, and it can happen in any random moment. So if you've been used to some form of, I don't want to even say routine, but just because of who you are, because you are on this journey of expansion, it's hopefully natural for you, or it's normal for you to keep tapping into that higher level of possibilities and consciousness. Visualization about how I want my life to look like, how I want to serve, if anything was possible, what would it be like in my life, in my business, etc., etc. A perfect day from the future, put it into now. There are so many ways, so many ways. But as you tap into that consciousness, in any random moment, when you're out of your mind, typically, you will get that incredibly potent idea. So sometimes that idea, it will come into fullness, and you will simply know or feel all the details of it. And sometimes it's a process, as in it will come in a breadcrumbs. So for instance, I remember in the past, I had ideas for a brand new programs, let's say for something new, or whatever it might be, that it was like chink, like I get it, I love this idea, I feel that sense of expansiveness, and in that same moment, I got absolutely everything, the structure of the program, everything. So perhaps if you can relate to it and you experienced it in the past, share that with us. So that can certainly happen. And when you know it, you want to move fast. When you get that clarity, you want to move fast. I mean fast. I mean commit to it. Go out there and tell your clients, this is what I'm bringing, and commit to it. Take those first few steps. The reason why, and this will be obviously the second thing what we will need to talk about it, it's inevitably the logical mind, the ego mind, logician part of ourselves will awaken and will become part of this process. So you kind of want to outsmart your ego mind by acting on that clarity. When you got that very potent, loving idea, you want to take that first step forward. So you outsmart your mind. So you'll be a little bit quicker than your fears, so to speak, or doubts that may come later on into equation. So anyway, so sometimes it comes very quickly in its fullness, and sometimes it comes in almost like a breadcrumb. So let's say many of you know that I've just opened the doors to the Wildly Wealthy Woman, and I want to acknowledge every single one of you who already joined and are about to join us. And I got this idea actually good few months back. In still winter time, but I know that it came like a quiet whisper. Wildly Wealthy Woman help women to activate their wealth codes, overcome any source of lack, and really claim that greatest mission of earth, you know, help them to create that wealth in all areas, not just money, in all areas, purpose, love, time, luck, in all areas. So I got that idea, and of course I loved it. But I didn't know anything more. I didn't know how long, how much. I didn't know anything like that. So so if that happens, that's okay. Grab on it and start massaging it, because all the details, and this is where you will just tell yourself, will come in just the perfect time. So I'll wrap this first point by re-emphasizing the first principle that you want to bear in mind when you want to tap into detachment, and that is that a higher mind creates ideas, physical mind perceives those ideas. So you want to, in order for you to get the most amazing ideas from place of detachment, you know, the pristine energy ideas, you want to tap into higher mind in the first place, into magician consciousness. Okay, so tap into it, and you can even ask yourself, what is my part in this? How can I serve my clients in the highest way? You can even ask yourself this question when you're in that state, in that consciousness, so you get the most potent, pristine, pure energy ideas. Okay, anything lower, there's going to be attachment. I need more money this month. I need whatever it is. It's coming from the lower mind, and there is a ton of attachment. Second thing that we absolutely need to know, that naturally both higher mind and lower mind, as in physical mind, will be part of the equation from the beginning to the end. So we could say that both, to simplify, magician archetype and logician archetype will be a part of equation. So I know, let's say, when that the Wildly Wealthy Woman idea came up, I said, I love the idea, I love it. And pretty much immediately for me, the logician stepped in. What for? You have too many programs already, enough programs, you got structure. When are you going to do that? You have a lot happening next, like this year. You have a lot happening. When will you find time to that? You're launching the book in Slovakia, you're doing this, you're doing that. So kind of immediately logician stepped in, as in bringing logic into equation. You might sometimes feeling like yesterday that idea felt amazing, as in I was in love with it, but this morning it felt unrealistic, or was I crazy, or who am I to do it? Any of those things is very normal. Please hear me out. This is very, very normal. And it's inevitable, almost inevitable part of equation, because logician will show up every time. It's truly helping us to grow and refocus and come back home to who we are, the limitless us, the magician us. So awareness here is key. I know I've been talking about this so much, but I will never stop talking about this, how it's so important to realize that anytime you hear any logic like this, it's literally not true, not indicative of what is. It's energy that is presenting itself, because we are focusing too small. We're making this. Okay, so that's when logician comes up. So what we've got to do is we've got to talk to the logician for sure. I do not suggest to suppress those feelings. One of my gorgeous clients just wrote to me last night, you know, Lenka, as I'm leaning into more feminine and working on my business, etc., doubt started to creep in. I'm not where I don't know where my the money is coming from, but I don't want to get there yet. And what I suggested to her, let's not kind of push it out. Let's bring all those fears and doubts that coming along the way to the surface. So you don't want to like, shut up, logician, shut up, mind. I'm totally ignoring you. I'm a magician. We don't want to do that. I tell you why. Because if that's even like a whisper, if that's even like a, like little niggle, I guarantee you this will be showing up a pattern that you probably have done many past in time that you haven't fully resolved, like a pattern of thinking, pattern of believing, a certain belief, or if you like energetic block. So by like, I don't want to go there, I'm not available to it, let's suppress it and let's focus on logician. What we're doing is we're bypassing. This is energetic bypassing. So we're just hush, 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 hush. I don't want to go there. And what happens is when we don't fully solve and attend to whatever is presenting, over time, it will become kind of larger and larger, And even if we kind of suppress it and we superficially get ourselves in a much higher energy state, it doesn't mean that we're not influenced by that which is suppressed in our energy. So it's completely normal that logician will show up along the way in your creation process, in your marketing process, in your selling process. It's completely normal, maybe on multiple occasions. But what is important that we do not suppress it, we do not bypass it. We kind of we want to offload it, as in, all right, tell me more. All the fears, doubts, logic. Tell me, why shouldn't we be doing it? Whilst simultaneously recognizing that what we're working with is energy, not truth. This is where we're going to be in this attachment and in this stop, start mode, or going in a circle mode, when we are literally taking from what comes up as its truth. As it's like, oh shit, really, who I was thinking. Oh, really, it's quite impossible. Oh, that's not reasonable right now. It's not the right time now, or whatever the logician make or somebody else is doing something similar, and whatever the logician may come up. No, invite those fears and doubts. Let that logician within you talk fully, knowing it is simply energy wanting to be resolved, and then soothe it. Nurture it, soothe it, and tap into the magician consciousness to help you to find new perception on it. So you will feel immediately like, okay, this is much better. This is much better. So you gradually tap back into that magician consciousness. Awareness is the key. Then what is important is that along the way, or not it's important, but naturally, hopefully and naturally, you will at some point of this process, from the creation to the actually marketing, selling, etc., you will create some goal, right? You will. It's very natural that we create some goal. Now, here is when we're really starting to tap into detachment. And this happened over years as a natural process. I'm been gently moving from the word goal to quantum symbol. And there is a reason for it. So let me just unwrap this, and maybe a little bit clumsily, because this might be for the first time, but I think you will get it. It's very natural that we set goals, maybe financial goals, how many people you want in your programs, whatever. It's very natural to set those goals. Fine, great. But what is important is to take that goal for what it really is, and that is that it is a symbol for where you're supposed to go. Let me unwrap that a little bit. So we said that higher mind creates ideas, lower mind, physical mind, perceives ideas. So when we set a goal out of that initial idea that comes, we are really tapping into the higher mind, but we translate that through our filters. So essentially, let's say you come up, I'm just making this purely up just for the explanation. Let's say you got the idea of running some amazing new program of yours. And let's say you set a goal that I want to serve 100 clients at this much money, I want to have this much money as a result of launching and delivering this program. So that will be a goal. Fine, great. What we need to understand, the purpose of that goal to allow ourselves to get into attachment. And that's why I encourage you to take it as a symbol, meaning your higher mind, your magician, that's a limitless aspect of you, abracadabra aspect of you. It never lies, so it will give you really, really potent ideas. And if that goal as that symbol that you will represent that idea, let's say that successful launch with say 100 clients, if that's a representation of successful goal, be it, but it may not be the same because you picked up on the pristine energy via your filters in your mind that has got past memories, your conscious expectation, linear mind thinks a little bit differently. So it may not be a perfect match. It may not be a perfect match, as in where your higher mind is calling you and what goal you set. It may be bigger. It may be that you set a goal for say 100 and you are ready right now to invite 500 people in that program. I don't know, but it may not be a perfect match. Therefore, what we want to do to allow ourselves to completely detach and take the power outside of that goal is to acknowledge that it's very good representative symbol of the direction your soul, your higher mind is calling you. It's a symbol. So what we want to do with that do you get that? A symbol, a picture of something versus the real thing. Like a map of London will never be the real London, the real experience, because it's a map, it's a representation of it. So your goal, your intention is not the real thing, it's a representation of it. The real thing is so much richer, so much larger that we cannot maybe even comprehend it. But nonetheless, we can use that map, we can use that symbol. How do we use it? Well, if it's exciting goal, we can go in there and suss out, number one, of course, that quantum emotion, right? So you can set some form of mantra around that goal. Let's say I invited 100 incredible clients to this new program of mine and it feels delicious. Let's say that could be a quantum mantra, and that could, because that's a goal, so that will connect you with the quantum emotion, meaning the exact energetic signature of that idea that your mind, the higher mind gave you. So so you suss out from that goal, you suss out that emotion. What is that quantum emotion? Emotion of success, if you like, but it will feel in different ways. You know, it may feel like fulfillment, it may feel like love, it may feel like expansion, whatever it feels like. It may feel like freedom. So suss out of that symbol, out of that goal, that that emotion, because it's that emotion that is not just your destination, but it's the journey as well. That will take you there. Yes, is that emotion. So that's primarily what it is for. And then what you can do is nurture that emotion. So you can, coming back to that symbol, if you like, because the symbol gives you that emotion. So you can keep tapping into that higher consciousness. And from there, you will get all the ideas that you need. You can come out with a strategy, whether it's immediately, you know what to do entirely, from marketing to selling to delivering, or in breadcrumbs, but it will come through that emotion. So use it for what it is, make it huge, obviously make that goal huge, but suss out of it the quantum emotion and then literally throw it out. Because if you keep focusing, it must be this, and it must be in this way, that is obviously that attachment. For this reason, personally, I no longer use like tangible goals, as in I want this many women, I want this much money. I mean, it's a little tricky because you know, you got to set direction in a team a little bit, or add expenditure, etc., etc. But I do it kind of intuitively. But what I do is still set that quantum symbol, just in a slightly different way. And what I do to set that symbol for that amazing success of that idea that was communicating to you, I will go to my heart. You know, I've done a few journeys with you. You can do some journeys with yourself. You can go to your heart. From your heart, when you feel the limitless love, you can go to your womb or where your womb would be. This is even, you know, for Hara for men, or even if you don't have womb, but where your womb would be, is almost like the dark feminine place where the ideas are born. Yes. So you can go there, and you can connect with the energy of that idea and let it present it to you as the symbol. So when I did this, I met essentially really like a modern day witch, if you like, with star crown or something like that. And I got a little kind of crystal ball as a symbol to nurture it. And there was a huge energy in that symbology. There was a huge energy of love, expansion, coming home. It's like souls coming home. So that connected me with such a beautiful energy of the program that is the goal itself. Does it make sense? So you can try this, you can play with this yourself. So what I'm saying here is that it doesn't have to be and it can be the actual goal, tangible goal, out of which you get that quantum emotion, use it for what it is, and or you can go within into your heart, and then possibly down there into womb, but you could even do it in your heart and connect with the energy of that idea. So in my case, it was wildly wealthy woman. And from here, you know, you can have that symbol, whatever it is, you know. Sometimes it's like a room full of that celebration. It's like, you know, it will be different every time, but you can truly connect with that energy, and you can keep going there to tap into that energy that will guide your strategy, steps, ideas, intuition, blah, 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 blah. So keep going there. You can even bring that energy once you connect and you got that symbolism, you can bring it upwards into your pineal gland, your spiritual antenna, and let it work, let it expand it into the corners of the universe, and essentially do know that it's coming back into physicality. So this would be the form of activation, yes, energetic activation. So it's alternative way to, if you like, set goals. So this is very much working with energy only, yes, that might make it a little bit easier for you to practice that detachment. In there, what you can also do before you do this kind of journey, before you connect with the energy of that idea, what you also can do, if you choose, you can journal a little bit or contemplate what is important to you about it, what it makes it so loving and exciting, what would you love, 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 love. So, you know, you can write down like a list of criteria or values. Maybe what's important to me, that it's really full of energy, full of my ideal clients, that I can be in my purpose, that I'm well financially rewarded, or anything like that. Bring into equation so you can contemplate on it, so that when you create that symbol, where you connect with the energy of that idea and create the symbol, quantum symbol, it will also have these criteria in it. It will kind of make it clear for you. Okay. Does that make sense? And I see a lot of questions and coming up, so I will kind of scroll through when we finish to pick up on a few. But I just want to know that it makes a little bit of sense. What this essentially helps us is to stay at home in your limitlessness, in your magician consciousness, and bring ourselves back home when we fall into the littleness, into the logician, into, you know, what now? Because, reminder, the way you're going to bring that idea into its fullness, typically it's a little different, or maybe a lot different than what your conscious logical mind thinks. Logician, logical mind, is linearly thinking. It needs kind of, okay, that's amazing, great idea. Okay, now I'll go with it, fine, but let's work exactly how we're gonna do it. So your logical mind wants to have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 20 to get from beginning to end. So this is the way that, if you like, the strategy comes in, which is great. And except it again may not be a total match, because your higher mind knows that step 1, step 2 will work, but step 3 not so much, because if you would get the step 3, that would be like a cul-de-sac. You can't go anywhere else. Instead, what you need to do is not to go there, but go left a little bit towards backwards. That's where you pick up the gem that you need, and then up. So it knows the exact journey, and it may not be as linear journey. Therefore, do know throughout the process, from the creation all the way to selling and even delivery, that the conscious expectation, the conscious way, and the magician's way may be different. So this is where we don't want to be attached to that step 1, step through. Oh yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. I need my logical mind. I calculated that I need, I don't know, 500 people to come to my webinar. But if they don't, then, you know, what am I going to do? I'm not going to achieve my goal, you see? So fine, have goals, but don't be attached to the outcome of each specific part of that strategy. Because it's all, you're co-creating. So you do know what you know you can, what's been offered to you as part of the strategy, but it doesn't freaking matter if that each step of the strategy is as per your conscious expectation, because what we focus on is that quantum symbol. I'll get that or far better. So let me connect with that quantum symbol. What's the energy of that idea? How does it feel when it's all over and it's that incredible? Who am I in that? Does it make sense? You literally bring yourself back home. So we don't want to focus, you know, don't want to be attached to it. But what can we do instead if we don't want to be attached to the how and when? Yeah, it's to details. What can we do instead? We can focus instead on immense pleasure of the process of doing it in now. That's what we can do. So we focus on that quantum symbol, and we focus on immense pleasure of doing it in now. So let's say, you know, this is where, I mean, I love launching. I'm going to tell you as it is. I love bringing new programs or existing programs. I love delivering them, because when we launch, when we sell some program, it kind of opens the space where I can serve you more. You know, I'll do a little more masterclasses, more emails, more whatever. And it's calling you home, calling you to the programs. It's calling you to your limitlessness. So I focus on the pleasure of it, to be in your gift, to inspire others to say yes to their higher self, to get a larger, so to speak. There's immense pleasure in it. So see, this is in selling, in marketing. Clearly you can see my belief system is quite very healthy about marketing and selling, but that's what it is from the position of your magician. Yes. So focus on the pleasure of it, and focus on the pleasure of it, knowing in here and now that that's also you becoming larger. You're learning, you know. So to date, of course, I brought many new ideas to fruition, to beautiful fruition. And along the way, of course, we learn so much, sometimes, you know, from things that didn't work out along, you know, step 1, step 3, didn't work out exactly, you know, as we wanted. And it brought some head talk, you know, ego mind up, and we dealt with it. We learned from there. We learned what does work, what doesn't work, who we are, who we are not. So there is so much incredible growth out just being in service, being in zone of genius, being in love now, focusing on the pleasure of it, So that is how. Focus on the pleasure of, I don't know, practicing those sales calls, having those sales conversations with the clients, instead of, am I going to get yes or no? Focus on pleasure of being connected with potential client, having that sacred container when you can connect as two souls. Focus on that. And that allows it to be in that love, in that honesty, you know, so in that power. So it super accelerates everything. It just super accelerates everything. And so that's, you know, and therefore I suggest not to measure until end, you know. So kind of measure, because when we measure, did that step one work, did that step two work, we could very quickly get discouraged if logician's way is different to your higher mind's way. But when we focus on now and on the value it brings to us, pleasure in our hearts, the way we grow, and the clients, the value it brings to potential clients, then there is no attachment in it. You're holding the very pristine energy. And that's when you open yourself up, you start getting better guidance, much higher guidance, much better ideas, and much better receiving. So this is perhaps one of two things I quickly cover. So this is not too long. Open yourself to receive. What I want you to, and this is very delicate again, because it can be misinterpreted in a way that it will not serve you. Keep disconnecting yourself from action when it comes to creation. What I mean by that is, we know that the actual fundamental recipe for limitless growth is super simple. Tap into that high level energy, magician consciousness, listen out for the ideas, implement the ideas. Yes, that's it. I mean, I know it's terribly simplified, but that's the fundamental, very simple recipe. Except when we're doing that and practicing that, it's very easy to fall into the by me consciousness, meaning like I've got to take that inspired action because, you know, I've got to take lots of inspired action, because that's how I'm going to make it happen. And I'm here to remind you that that inspired action, whereas, yeah, you surely will use your body in some way, you will be pulled, you know, as in, that feels amazing and I'm inspired to do it. So you will be pulled, as in that you will use that divine masculine, that initiation, that selling, that taking the first step, making yourself a little uncomfortable. You'll be pulled, sure. But that doesn't mean you will need to take a lot and ton of action to get what you want, because really this is we forget about co-creation. So keep putting yourself or contemplating on the idea that the universe within you, magician within you, doesn't need to take, it's for the universe within you. It's not a lot of action or a lot of time, or it's not too big to materialize what is it that you want. You see the bigness of it, the you know, oh, that would be amazing, so it's probably big, right? The bigness of it, it's only concept of the physical mind. For the universe within you, it's like the next thing. It's just like, you know, make me a cup of coffee. I'll make a cup of coffee, no problem. Yes. Therefore, it may not nearly need as amount of your physical input, action, than we might believe. So keep tapping into it. Keep tapping into it, as in, what would it be like if this was like super easy, super pleasurable, if I was in super receiving mode? What would that be? Tap into it. What would it be like in the easiest, most pleasurable way? What would it be like? What would it be like in, I don't know, just one thing happens and done? Keep tapping into that, because it's possible, and we kind of disconnect ourselves from too much action. Again, I'm saying this needs to be taken carefully, because of course we don't want to be in wounded divine feminine, meaning, all right, then I'm going to engage in my divine high level consciousness. I'll be in magician, sitting here, meditating, doing journeys, doing energy work, doing law of attraction, and not moving. You know, that's rejecting divine masculine, and that's rejecting the co-creation. So sure, we will need to take some moves, but just make sure that you don't fall into the trap of thinking it will need to take many moves, because you'll put it on your shoulders here, not healthy. Okay, so that's one thing. And the other thing I was going to remind you, and it's to do with detachment, is that we've got to appreciate along the way every single sign, every single client, every single thing that you know, that is a part of that higher vision. that the higher goal, that quantum symbol. And the reason why I'm saying this is I've heard this several times in my group programs. So I said this goal, let's say I want 20 people. At the moment, I have only 5 people. And you could feel from the words that it's like only 5 people, only. I don't have what I want. I want this many people. I want this much money. And so far I've got only this. And my dear, this is what I want you to hear. If you cannot appreciate a part of the energy, you're not open to the entire energy. If we cannot be truly appreciative of that one client, 1 pound, 1 step that showed up, then we cannot fully be open to the whole thing. We reject part of the energy, we reject the whole energy. So this is where, please, I want to just remind you that there is not only when it comes to creation, when it comes to service, when it comes to growth, there is no such a thing as only. Everything is a huge wow. Everything is a huge miracle. All of it comes from that nothingness, that your limitless energy. So fully appreciate every single bit along the way. And that is another accelerator of that journey, massive accelerator, rather than going to, oh, but I'm here, I'm not there yet. It's only this. Yes, where you are, closing yourself down, going into like attaching. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave this. Hopefully that's been useful. Loving reminder, wildly wealthy woman is open, calling all change makers, rebels, unicorns, leaders of tomorrow to step in, let go of any form of lack, and really activate your wealth codes, because it's the work that you will be doing in your own way with many clients, but the work starts from us. So we've got to embody in all ways that wildly wealthy women, in all ways that we're meant to be. So read it up, open for 7 days, starting on 22nd. So much love to you.